Real quick, let's take a second to talk about this video's sponsor, Skillshare. And if you haven't heard of Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people. Now, lately, I've been checking out email productivity, work smarter with your inbox. This is taught by Alexandra Samuel, and my inbox is absolutely bonkers. Look at that number. 107,000 emails. This class was made for me, and they discuss a lot of different concepts like being productive and setting up a folder system, using automated filters, having a daily email routine. There's just so much to learn here. I definitely recommend checking it out for yourself. That being said, the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. And a huge shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we're getting into my roughly year-long experience. Okay, well, it's like 10 months. We're close enough with this bad boy right here, the M1 MacBook Pro, and I had a lot of hesitancy going into this because it's a new platform and it's new software. Essentially, it's all coded new. Like everything has to be rewritten to work natively on this platform. Though we have Rosetta, which translates older code into new code that works on this new chip, which is cool, and it's been great actually. But I was really hesitant going into this, and I just can't say enough good things right now. Like, okay, coming from somebody that had a maxed out 15-inch MacBook Pro with discrete graphics, with as much RAM as I could pack in the damn thing. Okay, let me rewind here. My dream computer has always been a 13-inch MacBook Pro with discrete graphics, enough RAM, maybe a quad-core processor, things like that, right? What you would get in a 15-inch in a 13-inch. And this came along, and I was like, M1 can't be that powerful. I mean, this is Apple silicon we're talking about, you know? Like, of course, the iPhones and iPads are super powerful and stuff, but put it in a MacBook with real software, is that really gonna work out for me? In my opinion, this whole M1 platform has probably been the most seamless and smooth hardware-software transition that I've ever experienced from anything. I mean, they went to an entirely different platform, and my workflow didn't miss a beat at all. Like, that's how smooth everything was with this, and I was just very impressed overall by that aspect. I mean, the stuff that hadn't been rewritten to work with M1, Rosetta translated just fine. Like, all of the Adobe apps, they work no problem at all. Final Cut works great once there was an update pushed through immediately. That's been working fine. The only thing that didn't work for my workflow personally was my Universal Audio Aero interface and the drivers that go along with that. And that is a very niche, specific thing that I guarantee a lot of people that are getting this MacBook right here will not have had any negative experience with, because, well, a lot of people aren't using that specific audio interface. So that being said, I mean, thanks for watching. No, just kidding. But really, like, okay, let's talk about a few different categories here. And the first one we're gonna start out with is performance. So as far as the overall performance on this, out of the box, zippy fast, like just mind-blowing. Everything is just so great on this. Now, 10 months later, still the same zippy fast. Like, it hasn't degraded in performance whatsoever. And I can tell you through my workflow, like with Photoshop or Final Cut or any audio editing or anything like that, I do get the occasional beach ball where I didn't notice it before on my 15-inch, but it's nothing that is too long or like extended or annoying even, because I will take the small little beach ball for maybe 2 seconds on very few things that I do on this computer in exchange for the portability and size that this thing offers, because to me, that's important. Like, the 15-inch is heavy compared to this, and I can just throw this in a backpack and it's super light. I appreciate the small, tiny, very small percentage of sacrifice I've made switching to this M1 MacBook Pro. Now I realize that there's a new generation coming out pretty soon. That's why I'm doing a video on this guy right now, because I guarantee you the new generation, the M1X or whatever Apple ends up calling it, is gonna be much better than this. I mean, I can't wait till we get full-blown like a Pro machine with this kind of hardware inside of it, because it's just going to be amazing. But as far as performance goes, I mean, absolutely no problems. Like I said, very small instances where I noticed like a tiny bit of lag in comparison to the 15-inch, but overall, compared to what the 15-inch was stacked up with versus this, it's amazing. Now, as far as battery life goes, that's a big one, right? So my 15-inch MacBook Pro, let me tell you a story. If I were ever to edit a video with my 15-inch MacBook Pro, if I didn't have that thing plugged in, the MacBook Pro would be dead before I finished editing the video. And I can only speak to you in terms of my own workflow, and I know that's not gonna be relatable to everyone, but that's how it would go with the 15-inch MacBook Pro. With this guy right here, the battery on this is... it just blows it out of the water. I don't even know how else to explain it. I can straight work on this without it plugged in, edit 3 videos at least, and still have 20-25% battery left. And that is just mind-blowing. Now, I know a lot of that has to do with the power management of the M1 chip and just how all that is put together, but that's just a freaking craziness right there. Like literally for me, for my editing, 3 times the battery life versus my clunky big 15-inch machine. Now I know you're gonna say that the display is smaller, it's using less power, blah blah blah, and there's no discrete graphics. Well, I don't need them. That's the great part about it. I don't need the discrete graphics with this. I don't need a bigger display. Honestly, a 13-inch display is plenty fine for me. Like, if I need anything bigger than this, I just plug into a monitor on the side right there. Like, what's the big deal, you know? For me anyways. But I literally, all of the videos that, since I've gotten this machine, every single video that I have edited was edited on this. Without an external display, using just the trackpad and the keyboard. I know that's crazy talk, but that's just my style of editing. I like editing on a trackpad. I don't mind the small display. I kid you not, literally every single video that you've seen since this came out, I have edited with this. And if that doesn't say enough to you, I don't know what will, because I didn't expect as much as I got from this whole thing. I mean, come on, it's small. It's relatively inexpensive compared to the big clunky 16-inch, 15-inch MacBooks that are out there. It has less hardware in it. On paper, it should do absolutely worse than these other machines, but it absolutely doesn't. And that is the amazing part about Apple doing their own thing, controlling entirely their own ecosystem instead of having Intel's hand in the bucket and NVIDIA or AMD's hand in the bucket. They control the whole process from start to finish, and I mean, they've done a pretty good job at it. Other notes here to add, I would go as far as saying that most of the compatibility issues that I've had with this machine have less to do with the M1 chip and more to do with the operating system, Big Sur, and it's simply because some of the software developers at the time of launch hadn't updated their software to work with Big Sur. So like this is an amazing little computer right here, and honestly I couldn't have asked for anything better than this at the time, because I was getting so tired of my 15-inch MacBook, and this thing just came right when I needed it. Of course, the downsides are that I've definitely experienced only having 2 of these Thunderbolt ports on the side. That does suck. I mean, as a video editor, I'm using a dongle, obviously, and most of my video editing, I edit it off of an external Samsung solid-state drive like this. So what I have, my setup here is I'll have the solid-state drive plugged into one port, and then I'll have a dongle plugged into the other port, and then I can have my charger plugged into the dongle if I need the charger, but most of the time that's not the case. Usually I'm just using the dongle to transfer footage to my solid-state drive right here. So after that, I don't need the dongle, and it does suck, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Apple not putting, like, come on, you can't put another port, at least one more on the side here, like, really? But at the end of the day, it hasn't hindered my workflow at all. It's just getting used to having 2 ports when you had 4 before is, you know, a bit different. That being said, I don't have many complaints about this M1 MacBook. I mean, it just works. Like, I hate to use that stupid phrase, but the M1 platform is probably one of the best things that Apple has done in recent years, in my opinion. And like I said, one of the most seamless hardware software transitions that I've ever experienced, because literally I had no downtime with any of the software that I've used or that I used in the past. Well, except for, like I said, my audio interface, which was pretty delayed actually. It really just got compatibility like a few months ago. Which kind of sucks, but that's on them. That's not really on Apple. I'm sure they had plenty of warning from Apple to get things ready, to get things working. They chose not to, so whatever. That's what you get for buying into certain ecosystems, such as Universal Audio, like I did originally. Other than that, it's been fantastic. It pretty much outperforms the 15-inch MacBook Pro that I had in almost every way. And I did do a comparison with my old 15-inch MacBook Pro, which you can actually find that video linked down in the description or in the little card up at the top if you want to check that out for yourself. I mean, the export times between the two, it's like almost no contest really. And it was, at the time I was blown away, and 10 months later, I am still blown away by this little machine right here. So, I don't know. What do you think about the M1 platform? I think that there's a lot of cool stuff coming to this whole thing. I mean, if they could just, if only I could have an iPad-sized device, like an 11-inch iPad or 12-inch iPad or whatever, with an M1 in it that ran Mac OS, that I could use a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard. Come on, Apple, like really, really. I would travel around with just an iPad. Now, don't get me wrong, LumaFusion is great for editing video, and I have traveled with just an iPad and shot video on just my phone and edited it on just my iPad, and I had no problems. But it would be great to have a Mac OS device that would give me everything that I needed at my fingertips in a much more portable device than something like this. But until then, I'm pretty happy with this MacBook Pro, and I think that if you haven't jumped on board the M1 train, you should definitely do it. Maybe wait until the next one comes out, because I feel like we're probably going to get a refresh either late this year or early next year, probably late this year at the year mark whenever this was released. So definitely stay tuned for that. Keep your eyes peeled. I love this computer. Like, it's one of the best MacBooks I've ever owned because it gives me the size, the portability, and the power that I've literally always wanted in a MacBook. So that being said, let me know your thoughts on Apple's M1 MacBook Pros or M1 platform or M1X or anything like that down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new videos like this drop in the near future. I really do appreciate all the support, everyone. Sorry for my long tangents about this machine right here. I love it. I love it so much. It really is that great. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate it. This is Dom, and I will catch you in the next video.